I'm in the...
Hello, my name is Robert Mello. I'm an actor, a member of the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild. You may know me from such films as The Best of Me, where I play a killer, or the film Crazy Lake, where I play a killer. Or perhaps you know me best from the film Happy Death Day, where I play a killer. Possessing such expertise on the subject at hand, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce a titan of the industry, an Emmy-nominated writer who's credited with the genesis of such master works of film as This Little Clod of Dirt, Dust Bunnies, and Hold My Beer. Born a Cancer with a bad moon rising, he likes the color purple, the book, the movies, and the actual color. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Nancy McLaughlin's husband, Tommy.
Fantastic. I love how that opening happened. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian. With me always on the Talking Shit Show is that guy right there.
My name's Mark.
Jesus Christ. You okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was a little pissed because Facebook started it
did its thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of them bitches.
I was trying to make it.
My man.
Oh, let's see here.
So we had a special introduction from Mr. Rob Mello,
Yes.
who we had on the show, and Rob has introduced Mr. Tommy McLoughlin. McLoughlin. There's no F. I'm not going to mess this up.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mess this up. I promise.
Oh, well, hold on, wait a minute. Before we do that,
Yes.
we have somebody in our Oh, shut up, Steven. We were talking the other day, and we were talking with this little podcast called Nonsensical Nonsense.
Oh, hey, Nonsensical Nonsense. Glad to see that you're watching us.
Yes, I see. And we told them we would give them an answer on
After
something.
the show.
You want to do it at the end of the show?
After
So we
the
make
show.
sure that he's watching the whole time?
Yeah, I don't want to
Okay.
break anybody's heart. Then they won't watch us.
Oh, you don't? But they're a little podcast. They might.
Hey. So our guest that you have gotten for us today, can you
Yes.
tell me a little bit about him, Mark?
Well, he's a director. He's an actor. He's a musician.
A writer.
A writer.
Musician.
Yes.
Did you say magician?
No, you heard it wrong.
Uh,
I probably did. I don't know. Any which way, he's one of my favorite directors, next to Peter Anthony. Those two are pretty high on my list on directors, writers. A little movie called Friday the 13th Part 6, and he had to do something that nobody could do, or nobody. I don't think anybody could have done it the way he did. He had to bring Jason back to life. He was actually dead in this one, so he had to literally bring him back from the dead instead of they thought he was dead.
super dope.
So I'm gonna bring him in now.
Perfect. The anticipation.
I'm in.
Tommy, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Good.
We want to welcome you to the show. I'm sorry that the intro took a little bit longer, but Rob Mello, Mr. Mello, cut a fantastic. I feel like that was one of the most down-to-earth promos that you could have done for somebody coming on to not your show. But, I mean, he did it for us, and I was like, man, thank you so much.
Well, you asked me ahead of time, what's the one subject that I don't want to be talking about? And of course, he brings it up.
He said that
He brings it up.
he said that you would love the intro, the introduction.
Of course I do, and the weird thing, is where he comes up with these things. I have no idea, but that's what it was like when we worked together. Is that we just riffed off each other, and it was so much fun, doing that. And Jason, the director, just let us go. And and when I saw like the cut, I said, be on him more than me. He's the star. He's the actor that knows how to just capture your imagination with just the little twinkle in his eye and the things he does. He's great.
Oh,
we got Peter Anthony watching.
Hey.
Peter.
Now, like I said, Peter did do one. I'm going to try to play that one in a little bit too.
I want to see his new piece of art. I know.
Oh, Laugh. Yes, I bought a DVD. I bought one, but I gotta wait to get it, of course. But I can't wait. I've seen the previews to it, and it looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, the preview looks just absolute kick-ass.
Did you give him any input on it?
Not a peep.
Not a peep. I figured writers.
He's on his own.
As a writer, I felt like all the writers stick together. Like, hey, would you read this for me and tell me what I got going on here? If I need a different ending, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, that happens, and I know on the first Engines, they wanted, me to read it and have, a bunch of notes and things, and I said, the problem is that you guys did such a tribute, to my Jason Lives. If I start kind of talking about that, it feels like, okay, well, here's what the way you got to do it, because it's, you're paying homage there to that movie. So I just said, when you get to editing, if there's anything I can help with or suggestions, because that's a big part of writing. It's when you get down to the bare bones of, okay, what did we shoot and what can we use and what's better without it? And that becomes very hard to be objective.
Got it. Steven says that he loves how Tommy brought Jason back and how he made Jason badass again. So let's talk about that. Like, how did you make Jason badass? Did you do that, or was that, in fact, your actor doing that? Because I feel like a lot of actors kind of fall into the spot where you want them to, and you're just like, holy crap. Is that a thing?
We've talked with CJ Graham. Come on, you look at him. He helped.
Well, I get it. He's a big dude and all, but I mean, like, direction wise, was there a lot of direction for him, or was it like, hey, here's the ball?
Well, the great
touchdown.
As probably a lot of the fans know, I didn't start the movie, with CJ. It started with Dan Bradley, who was a stuntman, who was playing him, and without me having any feedback, or opinion on it, Paramount calls me and says, we're sending you a new Jason. It's like, what? Wait a minute. And turned out that, he was gaining weight that was very noticeable, I guess, to them at Paramount. So they just said, we're going with your second choice, CJ. And I said, well, where's Dan? I got to at least talk to him. No, he's gone. He's on a plane.
Wow.
So still to this day, I have not, had a chance to say, I'm so sorry that happened. And yet at the same time, CJ was the perfect choice. And he just, being from military, he was exactly what I was kind of hoping that we would create, a Jason that looked unstoppable, almost Terminator-esque. But I never gave him that note. I never said, no, this is robotic or whatever. Just, give him an instruction, and he would just say, yes, sir, and follow the instruction no matter what. I mean, that was the thing. He's just so driven to please and do the right thing. And they weren't like commands, but they were suggestions. And like you do with most actors, you just hope that they hear what they need to hear in that, and then they just kind of pull it from what their knowledge is. And Jason's not supposed to be thinking, as much as he's just reacting like a good soldier would. Somebody shoots at you, you shoot back. So it's, if somebody gets in his way, because he had an agenda in this movie, unlike a lot of the previous ones, he was happy being dead. He didn't need any more of this stuff. Tommy brings him back, so he's going to go after Tommy. Meanwhile, Tommy, of course, that was the worst screw up in the world, so he's got to stop it. So both these guys have a particular agenda, which doesn't get resolved, obviously, till the end of the movie. And then the chick does it for him. You know, the final girl ends up being the one that, you know, kind of helps Tommy out there, which, again, intentional on my part to say, well, sometimes in life, doesn't matter what game you're playing in Las Vegas, you could end up winning on something you didn't expect. And
Absolutely.
I was hoping that would be kind of, again, one of those surprises. But CJ, you know, he knew how to communicate this sense of power. And, you know, we borrowed from a few things, obviously, from The Shape, you know, Michael Myers, where, you know, he looks at the motorhome with the tilted head, you know, which is, you know, an animal thing. You know, it's like a dog does when, you know, you make a dog sound. So, yeah, there we are at the motorhome. That shot, and if you look, I don't know, closely in the background there, you see more of a blue sky than a black sky. Because
was it done in the daytime?
Sorry?
Was that done in the daytime?
No, it was done at night. We shot all nights, but we did such an ambitious day. And then, you know, this was very hard to prep. So we didn't kill anybody like the driver. So it took a while before we finally got the damn thing to fly. And now we had to do the ending image, which I was really set on, because that to me is a very iconic look, which I look at it as the caveman standing on top of the dinosaur. You know, look what I did, look what I killed. And, you know, again, CJ brings that element of warrior, you know, to this. And then, you know, having obviously the fire and the smoke, and, you know, God knows where Darcy DeMoss, you know, who played Nikki's head, is about now, since that fell on that side. But she ended up making a comeback, you know, in Vengeance
2, right there in the corner, you know. And I was, when I found out that Darcy, I can't speak today. Darcy was going to be in Vengeance 2. The first thing I asked Peter is, I'm like, how did she survive? And Peter goes, you never seen her die. You just seen her face go in there. You know, that was it. So I was like, oh, okay. But hell.
Yeah, they gave her some scars. So, you know, there was that believability of, you know, this, she was, you know, it was a while ago that happened to her. So, you know, whatever she ended up doing in the process, you know, to help herself, you know, heal and get back her, you know, her sense of who she was and what she wants to do when she sees Jason again. All that I thought was, you know, great choice.
Oh, she did it. She was doing awesome in Vengeance 2, kicking his ass. But, you know, yes, words are hard, Glick.
So CJ said that you let him do his own stunts, and so my question, and I don't remember if CJ answered it, was what was one of the harder things that he had to do, or any of your actors? What was any of the harder parts of the movie that they had to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you do a stunt, there's always the chance that something is going to go wrong. I mean, you plan it out, you do everything you can, you know. And I think our favorite story, both CJ and I, are the scene where my ex-wife, Nancy, Elizabeth, is in the Volkswagen, and, you know, Darren, you know, Tony Goldwyn had been killed, and, you know, Jason looks at her and raises the spear, you know, and what basically the direction was, we have one windshield, CJ, so we got to make this work. So she's going to be obviously on the driver's side, and, you know, when you lift that up and she starts to move, you just go right for where she was sitting. But as we both kind of realized later, being a soldier as he is, he went for the target. So as she moved over, he moved right with her and jabbed. And I mean, he just missed her.
Wow.
That could have been one hell of a tragedy, but it didn't happen. It was obviously made the shot even more exciting, you know, to see how close it came and things. And, you know, Nancy, I don't even know if Nancy realized how close that was, but it, you know, she had to follow that with being down in the mud and underwater and, being held down there. So that was probably the most difficult thing for any actor, to do. And she's not a stunt actor. And she, the scuba thing that they had didn't really help, that good old Georgia clay mud was going down her throat.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a difficult, part of the script to fill. But
do you think she had it the worst then in the film?
I would say so, yeah,
Okay.
because that was one of those things that was something that normally you would put a stunt person in there,
Yeah.
And we didn't have it, and she wanted to go for it. So, like anything else, you go, you just hope, pray to God that everything goes all right. But the cold, I mean, anybody jumping into that water, that was really freezing. I mean, we were all in parkas and stuff, and like the little kids were out there in t-shirts, and those things become really hard. And I've learned as an actor myself, you probably know this, maybe you don't, that Mick Garris had me cast in Critters 2, and I get eaten by critters, and I'm laying on the ground at 4 a.m, and it's cold, and the ground is like a freeze, totally frozen, and I'm laying there trying not to shake. And that's one of those things where the body tells you one thing, even though the mind's telling you, nope, you're dead. Don't move, don't move, don't move. But
all you want to do is shiver.
Yeah. So those kinds of things are difficult for concentration and things for the actors. So any of that kind of stuff, Darcy's fight in that small cubicle that we built, that was also fairly intense, because she just went with what CJ told her to do, which is just let me guide you, which is what, inherently he knew that stunt language, because that's part of what you have to do. You can't fight it. You can't, you just have to trust that he's going to put you where you need to be and that you won't get hurt. And there's probably a bunch of other stuff that I'm not even thinking of, because we had, a fair amount of kills in there.
And Brian, did you know this was the first Friday the 13th movie that had no nudity in it?
No, I did not know that.
And
what a shame. I like a little bit of nudity in a movie.
Well, no,
just a little bit.
I actually liked what Tommy said. He was like, the last time I talked with him, he said that if the actresses or actors did not want to do it, he was not going to make them.
Oh, yeah, right.
But they do have a picture of Tommy on top of Darcy doing this, covering up. Yeah. It is a great picture.
Naked from the waist up, yeah. Darcy did a photo session, and I said, I get so much heat about this, the fact. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. I said, no, you did the right thing ultimately, because it's in the script. She's got her top off. But when we got to the day of shooting, she said, do you really need that? And I said, need it? Want it? There's a difference. But, are you uncomfortable? She goes, yeah, I really am. And, she goes, and I think, if Tom's shirt's off, or, or he's got the, wife beater on, he looked like he was riding her she was riding him by holding on to those straps of the shirt. Plus, if your, focus is on her breasts and not on the comedy, that can certainly, undercut what we were trying to do with the scene, which was making it funny. And that whole thing about, how much longer, there
was a reason why I brought that one up. It's because I actually have a picture of it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Jason's right out there looking.
CJ. I feel like the only reason I would assume that there would be nudity in the movie is because every other Friday the 13th, because of it being Camp Crystal Lake, is all about having the teeny boppers with boobies out, and they're getting frisky and stuff like that. So I kind of anticipated it in the movie. Was I looking for it? Not necessarily, but I think as a teenager, I feel like everybody's.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a teenager, we both looking at that. So
yeah, of course.
But now looking at that movie, it's like, and like I told him, it didn't need it.
It didn't, not at all.
Just like Vengeance 2 didn't need it. It had the couple in the beginning, but that was about it. I mean, the rest of it didn't need it. I mean, they could have stuck a whole bunch in there, but I don't think it would have worked out the way it should have.
Yeah, I just wasn't interested in exploiting the idea. I wanted to make this very different from any of them that came before, in that the comedy was very important to me. The fact that we were satirizing ourselves and breaking the fourth wall and having the caretaker look right in the camera with the line about, some folks have a strange idea of entertainment. That really helped us with getting better reviews, because it's like, how can you hate something that's making fun of itself? And as I'm beginning to learn, is that movie sort of ushered in that, what was to be sort of the Scream world of where you were making a comedy at the same time making a horror movie. And I was offered Scream when it was Scary Movie, and I read the first scene, which the one that Drew Barrymore ended up doing. And I said, I kind of made this already, a satirization of the horror movies and the tropes and all that stuff. So I passed on it. And then I ended up getting all these other scripts, and none of them were so well written, as that movie was. So I went back to my agent. I said, is there any chance of, getting into that? He goes, nope, Wes Craven got it. And I went, okay, well, wow. He's great. He's going to do a great job. So
that he did do.
He did, yeah. And I mean, I don't know what I would have done that would have been any different or better than what he did. He really, because he knows so much about film, and it just was so great to see how well that worked. But then the irony is, years later, I meet Kevin Williamson, and we're talking about some project that he had for a TV thing or whatever. And then he said, I got to tell you something. Your Friday had such an influence on me writing Scary Movie, and I went, you're kidding. He says, no, and he's told this to other people too, that influence. And I said, I turned it down. He goes, you did? And I went, yeah, because I saw something I just did, and I didn't want to repeat myself. So I said, but the fact that it's done so well, that's great. It's like you make choices in life, and you hope it's the right one. You pick the right woman, you pick the right man, you pick, the right dog, whatever it is, and you just hope they're going to be a good one.
I don't know who that is, but what's up, guys?
His name's Eric Smith.
I love and respect Tom. His works on Friday the 13th Part 6, which is my favorite one in the franchise. Sometimes they come back in Vengeance 2.
He was also in Vengeance 1.
So, let me ask this part. Props. As far as the props went, were you given any props to take into Part 6, or was this everything that you said, we're going to start fresh, we're going to get new stuff? How did that work out?
As I had only seen the original Friday the 13th, which I thought was so clever that it wasn't who or what we thought it might be, after obviously Halloween and the whole Michael Myers thing, and how many people imitated that whole idea of putting a mask on and killing. The fact that it was, Betsy Palmer and, the mother, and that she did these incredibly, violent things. It was such a just great surprise. And the fact that the blood and the gore element was far more intense than what would be kind of normal for a lot of these movies. And the characters were fun, which I also kind of appreciated, that there was a sense of humor, as there was with the girls in Halloween. I think you really have to balance that thing of, don't hate the girls so that the guys are yelling, yeah, kill that bitch. To me, that's not the point. It's like, hopefully you like them and you're afraid for them, you're relating to them. So it's just that whole thing of, when I came into it, I just said, I want to start it in the great Gothic style that I sort of used, obviously, in One Dark Night, my first film. So it would have all the stuff. And then what has just come up recently quite a bit now is the fact that I shot it, me and John Cranhouse, who was the DP, to be very contrasty. So if you ever watch it again, take the color out. Just watch it in black and white, and you'll see how well it plays. In a lot of ways, for me, better because it's closer to the Universal horror movie look, or Hammer horror movie look.
I never even thought of that.
So it's sort of like the bonus feature, that you're not told
director's cut, black and white.
Yeah, with Guillermo del Toro did that with his Nightmare Alley too. Is he wanted to shoot that in black and white, and the studio said, "All right, well, if you want to do that, we're going to cut, $2 million out of your budget." He goes, "Never mind." But what he did is they lit it in such a way that they could do a print in black and white later, which they did. I'm guessing it's on the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, but I saw that with Guillermo, and to me it was even better. I mean, it was just so great to see that movie. And the original one, Nightmare Alley with Tyrone Power, my father is in, and like the opening scene, he's a fire eater. Was a fire eater. So the big blast that you see, that was always the reason I saw that movie so many times, is because Dad was in it. So it just, how did I get off onto that? Oh, the black and white aspect and trying to put elements, kids hadn't been done. It was a camp for kids, never had the kids in there like that. And obviously the kills, I wanted to be supernatural. I mean, not something anybody could pick up a knife and slit a throat, but not everybody can take a head, turn it all the way around and rip it off or punch a heart out. So everything was a little bit more unimitatable, which, yes, I do have morals. I'm sorry,
I did want to ask how that came up. I figured that you were looking for something that nobody else had done. And I had never seen somebody getting their head twisted off. Literally, like, we're going to open this like a bottle cap.
That was freaking awesome.
I think somebody out there probably has. There's got to be something somewhere, where this has happened, in the many years of where that bloodletting, even in the 50s, of movies that we never got to see, where they did just extreme amounts of blood and gore and things. But then obviously the Motion Picture Rating Board stepped in the 80s and said, you guys no more, you're causing people to kill other people and stuff, which isn't true. I really believe that, yes, if somebody has a fire going on in them, burning and a rage, whatever, something like this can set them off a little bit more or make them go, yeah, that's what I want to be like Jason, but to me, that's very rare. Most of these kills are some form of passion, anger at yourself, angry at the world. And these movies are really bigger than life. And they're kind of a way, I think most of us can go on a thrill ride and get really close to it, but not necessarily take it home with us, And then I never thought there'd be this kind of fandom, 30, what are we going on, 36 years now that made this thing. And so many people approach me like they just saw it, this weekend in a movie theater, and I just want to tell us how great it is, and that just absolutely amazes me because, I didn't think it would still be something, special to people this many decades, away.
There's a show. You want to go to a break on this? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and I'll ask my question.
We're gonna play a video real quick of Tommy singing, and then I want Tommy to answer this question from Peter.
It's 5:30.
It's 5:30 over there. But here's a video from Tommy singing Monster Mash.
Happy hour here.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Thank you, guys. Well, here's an old novelty number. When I was a kid, I loved to do all these voices, and so finally got a chance to do it again. We drag this out every Halloween. I'm sure some of you guys remember this. Bobby Boris Pickett, the Monster Mash. I was walking in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. A monster from a slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash.
Did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abode to get a jolt from my electrode.
The mash.
They did the monster mash.
Monster mash.
It was a graveyard
Did the
smash.
mash.
It caught on in a flash.
Did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included the Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sound. Igor unchained, backed by his bayed hound. The coffin diners were about to arrive with their vocals group, the Trip Kickle Five.
Did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard
Did the
smash.
mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash. Then up from his coffin, Drax hoisted the ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid, shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened? I tried to make it whiz."
Mash.
It's now the monster mash.
Monster mash.
And it's a graveyard smash.
Now the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
Monster mash.
It's now the monster mash. Now everything's cool. Drag the paw from my man. The monster mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell them Maurice sent you.
Monster mash.
Then you can monster mash
Monster mash.
and do my graveyard smash.
Monster mash.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Monster mash.
You do my monster mash. Ah, mash good.
I fucking love it.
I've not
fucking
seen
love
that
it.
since I did it. Wow, that's a flash.
Oh my god, I fucking love that. Listen,
Watching-
I was
watching your
already
face.
I was already a fan of the song.
Yeah, watching your
fucking love
face
it.
down here though in the corner. We're watching it. I'm watching you do this and moving your hands and stuff. It's like wow. But Peter had a question.
Are the Sloths back together, and how's the music scene going for you?
That's a really good question because we're right in the middle of a transition here. First off, that was a group called Allegory, and I was at a a comic convention, and I don't even remember if we actually rehearsed the song or we just said we were going to do it and just got out there and did it. I think we also did. Did we do Teenage Frankenstein and the Man Behind the Mask, or just I can't recall now, but it was just always fun to get out there and do, Boris. When the Sloths began to do it, we just made it into a punk song. It went twice as fast, if not faster, which is very hard to maintain the Boris Karloff voice going, from my laboratory in the hostel east to the mountain. So more of a challenge to do, but, it really kind of kicked it, where obviously that song from that era, it was, much more of a, like almost not quite a ballad, but certainly slow rock. The Sloths, COVID pretty much put us in the grave, despite the fact that our album, which we actually got vinyl on that as well as just the regular CD, it was called Back from the Grave, but everything stopped, and we were in the middle of a tour, and that ended. We had a bunch of songs that we were going to go for the next album. Everything, stopped. Then we just, maybe how long has it been now? Maybe 2 months ago at the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip, where we started, 50, 60 years ago or something. No, couldn't have been 60 for us. The club was around that long. They had us come and open for the group Love, who were the biggest group in those days in the 60s when we were still just up and coming punks. So it was great to kind of pull the band back together again and do this one show. And we then had to kind of see if it looked like everybody wanted to keep doing this. And I'm the only idiot, that's like, I'm in such death-defying mode until that, coffin lids and I'm pushed into that crypt, which I already have waiting for me whenever I get around to it. But I'm not in any hurry. I keep, I look at 2050 as, okay, that's D-Day for me. Or after that, I have no desire to stop anything until I get close to that. Then I'll start going, all right, I've made it 100 years and that's, good enough. And now it's like, dude, do something really cool now. You've got this amount of time, do it. So it's a great motivating factor to go and look at where you're going to be forever, at least the body, and say, I got a lot of shit I got to do. So as I said, it pushed me to the point where I said, okay, if we're not going to, have the group as the Sloths, I'm going to reinvent it so that we'll do some of the songs, but we'll also do songs from horror movies. Pet Cemetery, cool. Sympathy for the Devil, obviously Man Behind the Mask. There's like 50 songs that are really cool Highway to Hell, that I want the band to do. And I'm making the band into a band called Slothzilla. So thus, I think you can see here, there's
I see that
merchandising ready to go that it can be bought in Japan or online, because this is like very funny to them, this idea of Godzilla, but with a sloth head on it. So I sort of went, okay, that to me works. And I want to put an exclamation point after it. So it's Slothzilla, and really do a hard rock. I don't want to say metal, but more in that vein,
Tommy, that's more punk rock than anything that I've seen lately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's more punk rock than I've seen anything lately. So,
and these are all the influences that, we didn't have. We were a garage band.
Yeah.
That was it. And we were basically doing Stone songs and Animal songs and, Born to Be Wild and things that were, in our world at that time. So I, couldn't be phony and do music that it really didn't, live in us, and so that's the thing now is I'm looking for band members, that want to be part of this mission, because I'd love to play the conventions, that like that, what you just saw was like a Saturday night VIP party. But just to be able to go around and say, all right, here's Sloth songs, the ones that I wrote. And then here's obviously the things that are, songs that are great. And if you're into horror and rock and roll, bang, that song works.
I know a guy that would probably join the band. Who is that? Who is that? Turn your phone. You got to turn your phone.
No, it's just low lit. I can't see that.
What's up, motherfucker?
Oh, shit.
He said your lighting sucks.
Yeah, well, I'm in the garage, so. I mean, Tom, you're more than welcome to climb another fucking ladder and throw the second bulb in, but I figured, fuck it, I can see. Hey, dude, I got drums. I'm just saying, look.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a fucking pirate flag. I'm ready to roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, special guest, Mr. Rob Mello. Rob, how are you, sir?
Doing good, my friend. How are you?
Good. I see you came to say hello to Tommy, and we appreciate that. I think you like it or something. That's why you're like, oh, I'm showing up. This is happening.
Oh, dude, he's one of my favorite fucking scene mates I've ever had, dude.
Oh, we had a ball. It was great. And I love the fact that they just let us go. And we didn't know what we were going to do until it was over. You know. Yeah.
Well, it took a dry run to get the beats down, but boom. Yeah. I mean, I was telling these guys before, they were trying to set up shots, and the poor camera guys were just like, the poor steady cam guy was like not fucking steady because we had him going.
Yeah, I threw out that idea. I said, I said, you're going to have rock and roll music playing through this, right? Because that's what we would do. And they go, oh, yeah. I said, then we got to yell at each other.
Yeah.
be able to hear, because we got to be, you know, a bit of that Dumb and Dumber aspect, you know.
I'm only dumb, dude.
You know, and the fact that we're handling dead bodies and stuff, you know, wrong guys to be doing this.
Nah. It just pissed me off that we didn't have rum in the budget, you know?
Oh no, that comes out of your pocket, bud.
I know, that's the problem.
You're like, how much rum does everybody need here? Because I gotta go get like 2/5. What the hell?
Nah, we I will admit to having partaken the night before and saved the bottle for set the next day. But yes, we drank a lot of fucking sweet tea. But the night before, so the night before, I'm half cocked out front of the hotel, and I got no fucking idea who Tom is. The boss does. When I called her and, you know, told her, hey, you know, I got a scene with Tommy, and I got no fucking clue what he looks like, and who's this fucking ancient hippie walking by me? Anyway, babe, it was fucking Tom. He was on his way
outside
back.
the hotel. This is the story you told us, that you were outside the hotel on the phone.
Yep.
And I'm like, who the? In my mind, I didn't say nothing out loud. I'm not that fucking rude, but you know, I'm like, who the fuck? Wow, they let all sorts in, and it was Tom. And you know, the next day, all right, Brooks, what's up, man? Yeah, all right, we're on set. All right, that's my scene. Oh fuck, what's up, man? And it was just Tom's just a great talent, like all around. I know a lot of creatives, dude. And a lot of people try to go across genres and across mediums and stuff, and it's not the easiest fucking thing to do, you know?
I think we all start wanting to be actors, wanting to be Frankenstein, wanting to be the Wolfman, wanting to be whoever. And then you sort of go, well, somebody else is better at it. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but I kept begging Jason when they were editing this thing that, you know, be on Rob. I mean, he's the meat here. He's the one that's the actor that's doing stuff. I said, just, you know, let's just come to me, like just staring at him, you know, that'll be funny. He'll say something and then cut, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, I did contribute a little bit on that, but to me, it was about, you know, your humor and your charisma, which is just great.
Nah, man, you just, and that's the great thing about having Tom as a scene partner, is because he's acted and he's a director, and he understands to let shit flow. Because, you know, well, look, I'm seasoned, salt and pepper, see? So, you know, if I just first started out, I'd be very insecure. I wouldn't actually go for everything. And, you know, all the thoughts that I had, sticking my drawers out my pants, for instance, I was like, I gotta throw some paprika on this fucking guy. I'm like, you know what? He took a piss and forgot to zip his fly. So there you go. And it's just that simple.
Yeah,
know?
I can't wait to get the DVDs for that and see the outtakes for
You haven't gotten the DVDs?
No, not yet.
Tom, let's get the fuck out of here. These
waiting on a guy.
Hey, I'm waiting on. I know it's taking a little while for Jason to find the right people to do it and stuff. So
no, Jay's a straight dude.
Jason will get it done. I'll have him before the end of the year.
You know,
Mark is diehard. I'm telling you, if you guys need anybody for an upcoming project, for the love of God, Mark will do it for free. Just hire him for a 15-minute shoot. He wants to be a part of it so bad. And God love the guy. If I gotta fucking pay for it, I'll fucking pay to fly him wherever you need him.
You gotta tell me, man.
Well, that's the great thing about these fan films, is everybody's doing it for the love, because there's no money. But the thing that I keep telling people, this is like something that's never happened in the history of cinema, where the fans have said, you know what, you're not giving us what we want. We love this, so we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to pay for it. We're going to have guys that might have little to no experience, but they want to do it. They've seen enough of them. They kind of know instinctually what's right. And then obviously, if you get the right actors in, and in our case, you know, giving us that freedom, the whole thing with acting, guys, you know, obviously, as Rob knows, is listening. You know, if you're thinking about your line, you know, it's going to come out false. It's not going to sound organic. But we didn't know what the next thing was going to come out of each other's mouth. You know, and then trying to maintain that idea where there is no noise, but you're still going, what? You know, I just said, you know, and to me, that also adds.
My nipple itches.
And
I said.
and
luckily, Tom's got great fucking comedic timing as well, you know, and it just, I don't know why or how we just clicked.
Yeah.
Didn't say but 2 words to him and was like, hey, man, you want to run lines? He's like, yeah, maybe we should. And I'm going through the lines and we're going, and it didn't feel legit. You know what I mean? It felt boxed and cagey, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like prepackaged bullshit is what it was.
You have to step outside and be like, okay, well, I like the line, but I want to tell it the way that I need to tell it.
Well, the notion is what you're fighting for. Every character and everything you've ever seen is fighting for something. Yeah. So what am I fighting for? I'm in that scene. I was fighting for more booze, for him to hurry the fuck up with his shit so we can drink more booze.
Yeah. And I
get more booze.
Actual fear of Jason's father, you know, CJ. And obviously, if I didn't do what he wanted, I would, you know, get my ass kicked, or in the case of what you see, putting a knife under my fingernail and then eventually, you know, chopping up my hand. So it's like,
that was fucking brutal.
You weren't bothered about that. You were too toasted to give a fuck.
No, it was cool as fuck, man. I did tell him we had one gravestone and that's it, man. And it didn't hurt. It like instantly hurt, and that's it. It's kind of like getting a slap upside the head.
Yeah.
You know, but like it like, man, we really rehearsed the ever-loving fuck out of that one little thing.
Yeah.
You know, and Tom, I'm still holding you to it that when these pencil pushes break the law or whatever they got to do to get Friday out of legality, I'm holding you to it. I don't care if I'm alive or dead.
Well, one way or the other, this Crystal Lake thing is going to happen. You know,
I can't wait for that. I'm hoping that they do it right.
You know, I've written Jason Never Dies, which is a sequel to my Friday the 13th, but I haven't been able to do anything with it because of the lawsuits. So then I did another thing with James Sweet, who did Jason Rising, which was also a fan film and a very good one. And we did The Diary of Pamela Voorhees. And I went on the what do you call it? I don't know I guess it's just the Fangoria channel, I think but I was on there for an hour talking about this film, that we wanted to do, which started at Jason's birth and went for the next 10 years till they arrive in Crystal Lake, because I thought there was something really cool in that. Well, of course, out comes the announcement a couple of years later that, this is exactly what Crystal Lake's going to at least start, and then go to the camp and then continue on eventually into outer space if the show keeps going. It wants to just keep doing what was done before in obviously a different fashion, or different way of telling the story. So I got 2 Jason things here that I can't do anything with at the moment. But meanwhile I got another script that I'm gonna keep working on. That's again different, but it's not something that somebody has the rights to except me. So hopefully that might finally break through the wall of getting back in and doing what I love to do.
So let's do it.
Listen. Yeah. Guys, I have not written anything, but I know in my experience of watching movies and stuff and wanting to see certain things, I am still looking for someone that does mind bending, meaning like you can get in my head, you know what I'm saying, and make me feel a certain way. That's the kind of genre that I'm looking for. I want to say horror, but I feel like it's going to be more melodramatic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking for something like that. So if anybody's in the mood to write something, let me know. I got ideas.
Let
I
Brian,
don't mind pitching.
know when your Indiegogo is going on.
I will pitch. I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
not everybody's got friends like Brooks.
I still hold the Exorcist in that #1 position, with Halloween #2, because I was in the fucking theaters, with Halloween first day, with an audience that had no idea what they were going to see. And I guess it was like 4 days into The Exorcist, where people were still passing out, still frozen. I mean, to see all these motherfuckers not get up when the credits were rolling, they were shocked. They were so messed with, and they didn't have to be a religious person, but boy, a lot of people went to church after that.
Oh yeah.
Linda Blair's performance and the makeup, all of that whole thing was so orchestrated by Friedkin in such a brilliant way that people just had no idea how much of a mind fuck that was. So, I mean, there are the ones that kind of tap into it. I don't think they had any idea that it was going to work.
Tom, did you see the I think it's the director's cut where she's going down the stairs backwards?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That fucking tripped me out. Oh. And I told the fellas, and I'm going to get off here soon in a sec, but none of that shit trips me out. None of that shit trips me out. Dolls, fucking zombies, nothing. What trips me out, what scares the ever-loving shit out of me is people. You motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers are capable of some of the most evil shit that we can't even think of, and we're pretty fucking imaginative.
You know that every day you leave your house, 1 in 29 people that you walk past is a serial killer.
Yeah, if I live in a fucking major city. I live in rural ass Indiana. If I meet fucking 29 people in one day, I peopled way too hard, dude.
Well, they all could be Texas Chainsaw folks too.
Hey, listen,
you never know.
I tried to be a super huge fan of Texas Chainsaw, and everybody keeps saying, well, the franchise is never going to be rewritten and stuff like that. Somebody needs to rewrite it. We're ready. Yes, absolutely.
No.
We're ready.
No, to me, I think that they keep screwing it up every time that they try to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like this latest one, I mean, the kills were great.
Oh, I wasn't a fan of him going on the bus and killing all those people. Nobody could get out.
Mark's supposed to say spoiler alert.
Oh, fuck that!
Fuck them if they haven't seen it by now.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I mean, my point is, the characters, the principals, I wanted them to die within like 10 seconds of meeting them, and that's not how you write.
That is not a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that when the payoff, the bus came, I'm like, fuck yeah, carve them up, baby. I'll take a half a pound of roast beef while you're at it.
I mean, it was great. How that was orchestrated, but I mean, I figured at least more than 2 people would get off that bus. Instead, only 2 people got off.
Well, I mean, there's that mob mentality, the fear. You ever been in a big crowd when gunshots rung out? It's fucking pandemonium.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going in, I guess it'll be 3 hours from now to see Abigail.
This is the new flick, right?
This is, that's actually out tomorrow, but they do these, these sort of preview screenings to try to get some numbers in early so they know how much more they're going to, put into the publicity. And thank God I've got a girlfriend, Laura, who loves this shit more than me. And so if I say, well, there's like an 11:30 screening, let's go. I mean, she's out the door before me. So, every Thursday, if there's anything opening that's in the genre, we're there, with the rest of the month people, it's like, come on. And
make sure you're giving people your honest opinion on it too. I mean, because they're going to respect your honesty.
It looks good.
It does look good, but I think that we're going to fall into a point of disappointment, because I think that the parts that you see in the previews, I think that's all you're going to get. Unfortunately,
I never know, but Tom's not a bullshitter, so
okay. They're juggling comedy and horror, and as I know, if you like the people, you kind of go with the vibe, If you don't, then you're sitting there going, you know, come on, cut off a head, do something, you know, be funnier. But if they can blend it well, when good actors, and it always gets down to that, good actors, you know, somebody that you can relate to, connect to on some level, that they're being true in the way you understand what reality is. You can do anything. I mean, it's just amazing.
Guys, real quick, so we were on we were watching a show yesterday called Nonsensical Nonsense. It's another podcast, and something got brought up briefly, and it was somebody seen something on Facebook, and it was me, by the way. Fred, a 10-part series that is supposed to be done by Rob Zombie, which is a story about Freddy Krueger. Does anybody know any truth to that, or how would you feel? How do you feel about it? Do you think that this is a story that needs to be out there?
Well, I didn't think that you know, Chucky would have been a good series when they brought it out, but they did, and I mean, at least the original creator and all of them are all involved. This one, well, I don't think it ain't. It's not, but I'll give it a shot if it's actually true.
Yeah, it's so hard to know. It's just, you know, you can make something seem like it's an absolute real event by just kind of leaking it online, and somebody goes, "Have you heard about this?" And if somebody's got the money and the wherewithal, it's like, well, let me check into that. No, but that's a good idea. We should do that. You know, you never know. You really, it's so hard to know, because where do you know, what's the source? You know, how do they hear this? Because, you know, this town's very, very quiet. I had no idea that this, you know, Crystal Lake thing was going to actually happen. And I talked to Victor Miller. I later talked to Sean Cunningham as well. But, you know, Victor had a lawyer, you know, who's very powerful. He got, you know,
oh yeah, we know.
Yeah, NBC and Universal and, you know, A24. I mean, but did anybody else know? No, and I know a lot of people, you know, on the inside track of this, and it's like,
Yeah.
trying to keep a secret. They did it very well.
You didn't know?
Oh, Rob saying,
Dude, I knew last year, dude.
Hmm?
I'm fucking lying, of course.
that I knew. Would you say I knew last year?
Yeah.
Oh bullshit.
That's the humor.
So the show's gonna happen. Camp Crystal Lake is gonna happen. Is that right?
Yeah, it probably will happen. What, next year it'll come out?
Do you guys feel that they will reach out to any previous, or excuse me, any past cast members, past writers, directors? Is that going to happen?
Yeah, I think that's the whole one of the things Brian loves. I mean, because he's, you know, he's already bringing what's her face from the first one, but just her blanked, and she's wonderful. Adrienne King. She's already in there, and people are speculating, oh, is she going to be Pamela Voorhees? What are they going to do with her?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But you know, they're definitely going to do it. But I'll tell you, if you want to know the Hollywood secret here, yes, they settled on the rights that, you know.
Oh yeah.
Walter's supposed to get. Walter Miller. Well, what?
Damn,
blanking.
Victor
Miller. And Sean have basically, you know, he's going to do the Masked Jason. You know, Victor's going to do the prequel and the movie.
It's 6 o'clock.
But that didn't happen, you know. And both, there's still stuff that they both have to sign off on if one's going to do this or that, which all they have to do is go, nope, more money. Nope.
That sucks.
And they've got, you know, because when I talked to Sean, and I said, I have the script, man. I would love to send it to you to see what you think. It's, you know, it hasn't been done quite like this before. And I went out of my way to sit in the theater in my mind and go, all right, if I'm watching a Friday, what do I want to see? What have the fans told me for the last 30 years they want to see? And tried to put it all in there. And basically Sean was like, you know, man, it used to just be me. And people did what I said. It's like, it's not like that. There's all these other elements that are now part of all this. I mean, you could send it and I can, you know, kind of, but I thought, you know, I don't want to send it to him now. He's basically into a very dark, fatalistic thing about, you know, the whole Friday idea, because there's so much, as I said, baggage now, that there's so many hands in that pie. and it's a
That's
money.
one of the things, Tom, that my wife, I call her the boss, obvious reasons, but she is a Friday super freak. She knows literally everybody. She's met you probably half a dozen times, but like watching it, she hates Friday fan films. But she watched Oz for obvious reasons, and she was like, "Holy shit, that was really fucking good!" Like it hit all of these points. I'd go get her, but she would yell at me later and put me back.
She's half naked, so.
Well, she would put me back in the cage and shit. I don't want to go back in the cage. Come on, animal.
I would like to see that though.
I bet you would.
Yes.
Fucking freak.
You in a cage.
Dirty bad.
Before you get off here, are you still a go for the military show?
I can't even see him anymore. He's out. He's done.
Say what?
Are you still good for the military show at the end of the month?
Oh yeah.
Are you sure? Are you good?
Shoot me a reminder, dude.
You got your uniform?
I'll remind you.
No.
He's not ready. He's not ready.
Do you have yours?
I got a pair of coveralls. I'm gonna look like Jason without the mask.
I've got,
Listen,
well, I'm a Marine, so like I don't look like, well, I look relatively close to what I did. Closer than a lot of my compadres, I will tell you fucking that, you bunch of fat bastards. But Marine Corps dress blues are they're tailored to you, and you have to stand like this.
Yeah,
when you're 18, so
not allowed to breathe. You're not allowed to breathe. That's why that's why the brain cells of the Marines are kind of one.
Surprisingly, all right there, Pinky Dick. Slow your roll. But surprisingly, you can do the donkey butt like a motherfucker.
There are going to be two military shows. There's going to be our show, which happens on, what's the date?
The 24th.
And then we'll carry that show over because, unfortunately for us, Rob, unfortunately, when it gets to being a lot of military guys talking, these hosts that they have, they don't get to ask any questions or anything like that. So
I don't plan on asking any questions.
So they made it a two-parter, and the other half of the show will be played on Nonsensical Nonsense. And if you were up for it, they would like to have you on that show as well.
Sure.
There you go.
By the way, Tom, I know a couple of show promoters in the Midwest. Do you want me to forward your number?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get back on the con thing again because it's like my dance card is completely empty for the rest of this year going at any of these cons. But I think what happens is other people start to become popular, and then some of the people that are so good, like CJ, at getting themselves in. He's just. I mean, this man's brilliant, and
CJ married Ruby. Let's not bullshit. CJ married up. He might be loaded, handsome, tall, and fucking famous and shit, but he married up, baby.
Well, she's great.
I was super nervous to interview him because he just had. His presence on screen he felt like he took up the whole thing. And I was like, if I ask a question and piss this man off, he is coming through the screen and he's going to get me.
He's a big son bitch, but
he is a super down to earth, nice guy. And that's all you guys you don't understand the amount of enthusiasm and the amount of, we talk about you guys. I go to work and I'm like, dude, I have a show tonight that I'm doing with Tommy, and I did it with you, Rob. And everybody's like, "Who's Rob?" Oh, let me show you this video. Oh, let me show you this movie. Right? So then it's like, oh yeah, we're watching tonight. This is happening. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then everybody left as soon as I said that. You motherfuckers.
Getting back to CJ for 1 minute, he comes from the casino world. I mean, he ran casinos. Yep. That's serious money, and that's serious smart. So he's grounded in that, that world. that he just knows how to take 10 cents and make it into, $10. I mean, he's amazing in all those ways, and to watch his mind, how it works. And then he's also going to be hysterical at, like slapstick hysterical, like in a restaurant, just straight up. He just, has this gift. Yeah, he's one hell of a guy.
Oh, he's a fucking sweetheart, dude. We all went out for I think it was Midwest Monster Fest, and we all went out for breakfast. Like me, him, Chris, Corey, from Living Color, the lead singer. Yes, I fucking fanboyed. Fuck you. And fucking, I was just like, I looked at Corey. I'm like, holy shit. After I got done with my fanboy, and I'm like, I thought you'd be taller. I know. But I'm 6 feet, dude. You were this monster, and that's all right. That's cool. But like the next day, fucking first thing, CJ was out there. Y'all ready to go to breakfast? I'm like, no, man, I'm fucking hungover. He's like, yeah. Eat it off. Boom. Never saw a check.
Yep.
Fucking sweetheart of a guy, man. You know? And he does for the fans left and right. Yeah.
Amazing.
But I'm gonna roll out. Tommy, I'm holding you to your fucking promise.
We're gonna work together. You know that.
You damn right we are.
Maybe if you'll direct something, you'll hire me, and I can, do a bit part. I'm good at that.
No. I want
Rob's trying to figure out how to make the killer this time. Rob plays the killer all the time. It's somebody else's turn.
But he's so good at it.
He is really good at it.
That's what my ex-wife said. Anyway, Tom, it was great fucking seeing you, brother.
Great seeing you, man.
Rob, thanks for coming on and giving him some shit. So we appreciate it.
Brian, it was really funny. He couldn't see shit, but he heard me say, "What's up, motherfucker?" And he boom.
He was like, "God damn it."
Oh, under your picture it says Joe. So
I know I did that on purpose. Because you're old, and you're old. He
was gonna come in blank and just start talking.
Yeah. Okay.
But he got tired of waiting. He was like, "Nope, not waiting no more. This is happening."
Anyway, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
In a few weeks.
Tom, I'll see you later.
All right, man.
Well, sorry that took up so much of your time. I apologize, Tommy, but that was a special surprise that we wanted to give to you, Rob.
I do have one more video though for him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
And this is from Peter.
Hey everyone, Peter Anthony here, writer, director. I just want to tell everybody, make sure to check out the Talking Shit podcast, April 18th at 8 p.m., where the guys will be interviewing one of my favorite people of all time, my good friends, the legendary Tom McLoughlin. Make sure to turn in April 18th at 8 p.m. I'll see you there.
And he was absolutely here the whole time. So, Peter, thank you for
He's the man,
Oh, I love
when he looks at you like that. It's like, what do you want me to do? Okay, I'm there. He's got a great intensity when he focuses like that. It's great.
Yeah, he was dealing with laugh at the time when I had asked him, and he was having a few problems with the stuff going on, and I was like, man, you don't have to. I mean, but he did it anyways, so I was happy. I love talking with Peter. He's a great guy. He's down to earth. He's wonderful.
Yeah, it's like there's no challenge that he won't take, which is what I think is so amazing. So many people say, well, and I do this with actors too. It's like, no, my character would only do this. I mean, he would react. It's like we all do shit we never thought we would do when certain things happen, certain circumstances. We all lie like motherfuckers. If something, you go and you see a movie and it's like, oh yeah, you directed. Hey, how are you, man? Yeah. And if you hear the word interesting, you're in trouble because they can't say good or bad. There's, it's really interesting. Yeah. And that was really bad in the days where, I knew the people like in plays, and you'd have to sit there through a play going, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? But again, we pull ourselves up and we do things that, we never thought we'd do. And it's the same thing as I try to convey to actors. And Peter's one of those guys where he's had such a unique road that he's gone down, and the things he's accomplished. And, he's still young and got a long way to go. So I'll be excited to see what the next
and
thing
what's
is.
great about him is he loves the feedback. And I think that's why he does these shows. He comes on our show. He watches our show and he talks. He listens to what direction, I think, I think he's really good at taking direction, and he knows, okay, well, if Tommy tells me that this is going to work or not going to work, I think he's going to listen a little bit more, because you've been doing this for how long now?
Well, I guess you have to say what I started making movies when I was 7 in the back lots of MGM Studios with a little 8mm camera on the weekends when there wasn't anybody else there. So, we were shit. I mean, we were kids. We didn't know what we were doing, but we'd make these things. But the sets were incredible because you're on the back lot of, a real working movie studio. And I actually stole a director's chair, one of the old school ones that are much lower. And it said John Sturgis on the back. And I had no idea that this was, who this was at that time. And I still have that chair today, it says director on one side and John Sturgis on the other. And I finally met him years later at a seminar. And, I said, I got a confession, sir. I took your director's chair. I think you were doing Ice Station Zebra back then. And he looked at me for the longest moment. And he goes, is that where that fucking chair went? And he goes, no, shit. If it helped you, I go, yeah. Can you give me some piece of advice? Just some director piece of advice, since I haven't done this yet. And he thought about it. He said, yeah, wear comfortable shoes. So, I mean, that's the thing. And like, I remember Spielberg said, what's the hardest thing about directing is getting out of the car in the morning, because now you got to face all the ideas and all the stuff that we have to face, and you have to kind of love, the unknown. And when something goes bad, it's like, no, this can be good. It's like you have to keep taking what's negative and make it into a positive some way, somehow. And a lot of the biggest mistakes that happen on movies end up being something brilliant, that occurs. And why?
We call those happy accidents.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You lose this particular actor and you go, no, they're the only one that can play this role. And you get somebody, it's like, I don't even heard of them. What is it? And they come in and they nail it.
Kill it.
Yeah. Biggest expectations of what this part could have been.
Have you ever had to let somebody go from a film because they want to take your spot? I'm not saying it per se, but they're giving you direction. Like, hey, this is what I want to do.
Oh, I've had a few, yeah. And usually it's actors who are just dying to direct themselves. They're very close to possibly getting that. So it's sort of them kind of trying out that power, and I'll listen to anybody. I mean, I really am very open, because, we're looking at the trees and somebody else can stand back and see the forest and might come up with something, if you do this, then this might be even better. And if it's a great idea, I'll go out of my way to let everybody on the crew know, best fucking idea I've heard, period. And this is like the craft service guy, I try to keep that as open of a forum as possible. And if something isn't right, it's like, that's a great idea, but it's kind of not the way I'm, the vision I'm trying to go with this. But don't stop giving me ideas, because, I love when somebody can see something I didn't see. And it is a collaborative art form, and it should be looked at that way. It's our movie, not my movie. It's our movie. And once everybody realizes that, then they really own it. And it's wonderful to have that sense of, community.
I've never been in film. I've never done stage or anything, but I think, listening to how people direct me when I was in the military, I feel like if you're giving me that same kind of direction, I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with it. But I won't put a spin on it until you tell me to put my own spin on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know, because Rob was prior military as well. I want to know if that's how his went. He was able to take the direction, but then he was like, and then I could put my own spin on it.
The military really, you know, as the older I get and the more things I do in directing, the more I get how valuable that can be. Is don't think, just do what you're supposed to do, period. Because as soon as, you know, analysis creates paralysis comes in, and it's very hard, like writing scripts now, because I'm going, okay, this is great. And I look at the next day, I go, who wrote this? A monkey? What the, you know? And it's like, leave it alone. Keep going. Don't go backwards to fix things. But you start to know too much. Where when you're younger and you just do, you know, okay, this thing's due in 1 week. Okay, and you just do it. You don't overanalyze it and stuff. So there is something about that whole military thing that he tells you this is what you got to do. You do it, and you get used to that. Get rid of the ego. And as an actor, as we do in life, I don't know what the hell I'm going to say next. I'm just, you know, trying to get out of a feeling. But the more emotional I get with it, the more phony it is, because we don't in life. So much of directing to me is like, just say this like it's a fact. You know, it's far more frightening to have somebody go, I'm going to fucking kill you. Did you hear me? I'm going to fucking kill you. You know, no, I'm going to kill you. No, you know, warming up to it. It's just a fact, you know, and then like Liam Neeson's so great at that, you know, and then I'm going to kill you again in hell, you know, and there's something with comedy,
fucking kill you. Yeah.
And when I learned that and started doing all these true crime movies I was doing for TV, you know, it was so different when somebody just made it like, this is a good thing that I'm doing. You know, I'm getting rid of somebody that's really going to make everybody else's life horrible. So kind of look at myself as a hero by chopping their head off, you know, I mean. And I talked to inmates on death row about what they thought about when they were killing or whatever. And it was amazing, guys, how many times somebody would say, well, I guess my grandmother. You were thinking, what do you mean? It's like thinking what she was going to think. And
wow.
I couldn't stop that from happening. I still was programmed to do what I was doing. But yeah. And other times it was like, you know, one of the ones that bothered me the most was an HBO special about teenagers who kill. And there was one kid who killed his best friend's mother. And the person said, you know, what were you thinking of when you were killing his mother? And he said, well, I just sort of thought of myself as Jason. You know, I just had no emotion. I just, you know, did it. And I'm going, no, because they cut to my poster. Part 6, and I'm going, that's the very thing I argue is not right. You know, this kid already had issues, but that sort of was like, you know, the wardrobe we got to put on and feel empowered. So there's so many different versions of that kind of stuff that happens in life. You know, listening to a Rob Zombie song isn't going to make you go out and do what he's singing about, but they certainly tried to hang it on him, you know.
I think that there's a whole lot of that goes around. Oh, I blame it on this. I blame it on that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't blame any of that, because you weren't watching the movie when you were doing it.
Yeah.
You watched the movie and then you went and did it because you want to be that guy. You're not that guy. You're not.
We all look for things to justify our actions, whatever it is. You know, I'm not going to tell her I love her because she's going to get too clingy. She's going to be, you know, and it's like you start overthinking things and then you just end up messing them up. And then there's other times where, you know, you just put too much weight, you know, on a particular decision and then you don't do it. And then you find yourself, you know, 20 years later in a bar going, you know what, I could have been.
Why didn't I? Yeah.
Why didn't I? You know, like the famous thing of the quarterback in there, that his greatest moment was that, you know, senior year, you know, when he did that touchdown that no one believed no one could catch him, but he never got past that. I mean, that's the story. So
because he got the girl pregnant. I mean, that's normally what happens.
Yeah, that's Mark's outcome.
It's you know, I mean, my girlfriend that I'm with now, she got pregnant at 16, and you know, when I hear the story and stuff, I think, wow, you know, I wonder how that happened. Well, her mother was 14. And You know, it's like, where's your teenage days? Where's your, you know, that growing up in that thing? It's like, no, now you're a mom and you got to do that. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's just, it was something that happened, and you know, nobody wanted to do any kind of obviously abortion or anything. It's just, you know, look, you did it. This is the result, and you deal with it. And there's somebody out there that might regret it years later, but then there's a lot of people that just go, you know, this was the greatest thing that happened to me. You know, my world is just so full now with having that, and now I'm a grandmother or whatever.
So
But
Mark and I have been with our significant others for more than 20.
Mine will be on the 29th of this month will be 24 years married, 26 altogether.
good. That's really good, man.
And I'm right there with you. So, but you know, we do. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know if Mark does it, but I'm sure that we're like, oh, you know, wonder what if I didn't marry her? What if I didn't? I think I'd be a scumbag. I mean, I'm a bigger scumbag than what I am right now. But I mean, I wonder sometimes, like, would I have been a good person? Because I feel like she did her job to make me a good person.
My wife made me a better person.
Yeah, better person.
It's true. You know, if you marry the right person, you know, or you're best friends with somebody that you go, I wish I was as good as they are, but you know what? I love this influence. You know, makes me think, you know, there are people that aren't as fucked up as me. But you know what was a huge turning point for me, guys, was going to Al-Anon meetings and listening to these stories of people that lived with alcoholics, or going to AA. You know, I don't drink myself. I never have, you know, or, you know, smoke. But when you hear people's stories just flat out, you know, things that have happened, it's mind blowing, you know, the human condition and what it can do and not do or regret. And it made me come to a point where I said, you know what, I can look back at all these mistakes I made. And if somebody said, would you do them again? Knowing now what you know, and I go, yep, because the truth is you can't undo what you've already done. You just have to accept it, and accept it as that's what I felt was right at that time. You know,
I had fun making the mistakes. I mean, they were fun at the time, but you know, that's why I had to stop drinking, because it was too much fun for me.
Yeah,
it got me in trouble.
It will, one way or the other, you know, it will. And I've lived around, you know, of course, I'm Irish Catholic. Ultimately, you know, you're born with the bottle, you know, and I've lost so many people, so many family members and stuff. And you just have to, you can't change them. They have to reach a point where it's like, you know what, I'm done. That's it, you know, and it's wonderful when that occurs. And there's other people that just go through it. And, you know, I mean, the 60s, watch, the Monterey Pop Festival, the documentary. There's like 4 times in that movie they cut to the audience, and here I am, front row, Hendrix, you know, the Who, Otis Redding. I mean, the cream of rock and roll and music at that time, huge influence. And you know, we were all stoned. I mean, that was it. And the weed wasn't like it is today, you know, or a couple of hits, you're good. You know, you're smoking, you know, a bag of that stuff, you know, to get some sort of reaction. So it, you know, I had that period, and that was, you know, at a certain point I went, this isn't going to help me get to the next step. You know, if I keep just, you know, chilling, you know, and just thinking about, you know, nothing and listening to music and not moving. So it, you know, still held on to the music, but the other lifestyle had to go away.
My wife said that she wished she was around in the 60s. She thinks that she'd be a better person, or the person that she is now, because I think that she's absolutely fantastic. So, but she feels like she could have been around in the 60s and really ruled life.
I could just imagine your wife in the 60s. That would have been interesting.
She's a flower child, dude. That's
I know. That's why I said it would have been interesting.
So
yeah. Well, we really thought we were changing the world. You know, all the stuff that the repression from the 50s after the war, everybody was promised, you know, you're going to get a house, you're going to have this, you know, the wives get out of the workforce, make babies, take care of the house. You know, there was a real thing there that made a lot of people very, very angry and restricted. And we came into this thing, you know, and the combination of obviously the Beatles and their influences and just the music in general becoming so unique and different, and, you know, Motown, you know, compared to country, compared to hard rock. I mean, so all this stuff was like, this is great. You know, we're in a great era. And, you know, then that sort of kind of disappeared in the 70s and things. And the 80s were, again, a very unique period where I know as a filmmaker and all the filmmakers I knew, it's like, you know, we're making shit here. This is just candy. It's nothing, you know. 70s, look at that. The stuff that influenced us, The Godfather and Exorcist, Jaws. I mean, all these, you know, great films. And, you know, but now, you know, the 80s are looked upon like, my God, you were part of all that. And then how great was that? And it's like, at that point, you didn't think about that other than we wanted to make it bigger and better. So, yeah. But now I'm just have to say, you know, everybody's period, you know, somehow they're a part of that. And however they look back on it, you know, can change when people are coming up saying, you know, I just loved every aspect of that. I didn't really? Okay.
Well, most people like the 80s, especially the horror in the 80s. They love that genre right there because it gave you Jason, it gave you Freddy, it gave you more of Michael, it gave you
something that nobody ever talks about.
Chucky.
Skinner scared the bejesus out of me. Go, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go find it and watch it. Skinner.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, that's fucking scary.
We need to sit down and watch it one day.
Yes. I was a child and we went to the drive-in movie theater.
Oh yeah, okay.
This guy was putting people in dog kennel kind of things, cages, you know, and then cutting them up, eating them kind of out.
And now you know how I feel about Freddy. Okay. I lived on Nightmare on Elm Street came out. I lived on Elm Street. I was 7 years old, 7 years old. And, well, come on. You would think the same way.
Yep. Yeah. It's, you know, we're all made different, but we're all the same when it gets down to it. You know, what is it that scares us? What is it that makes us laugh? It might be different depending on our background, but sure. I remember, you know, when I got a PG for One Dark Night, my first movie, we were so upset. We thought, oh, this has got to be an R with all the, you know, pus and blood and maggots and all this stuff. And it gets a PG. So parents were taking their kids, grandparents were taking the kids, you know, to go see. And of course, not a whole lot happens in that movie. And because it's very old school, like the movies that I remember growing up on, it took a while before something really took off. But when it took off, it scared the hell out of so many kids. I mean, they come up to me and say, you know how much you traumatized me? Or that Alice in Wonderland that you were in, you were the Jabberwocky. I slept under my bed for a week. That friggin' Jabberwocky you did was, I go, really? That bothered you? Oh God, yeah, you have no idea what that would do to a 6-year-old, you know, and little Alice. And it's that thing of connecting as a child to something that was traumatic, you know, because it was so out of your world. That's like, holy shit, where does that fit?
Fuck you, Glick.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Tommy, is there anything else that you want to talk about? We asked you for an hour and you asked more than an hour.
Yeah, we've done an hour and a half. Okay.
We've done an hour and a half. And I do have a question. The camera that you're using now, what is that called?
This thing,
because it's floating with you. It moves.
630. It does. Yeah, it does all kinds of crazy shit. It's called Obot. OBOD. Yeah, because I mean, if I get up and start to walk around the room, it
it's going to follow you. That's really cool.
So yeah, I mean, I wanted to go up to the horror museum that I've created upstairs here, but I've not properly lit the thing yet, so it would be hard to see a lot of the things that are in there. But Jason's coffin is obviously the centerpiece of that.
Listen, if you want to ever entertain anybody with that, you are more than welcome to bring it to the show.
Okay.
Stop in
Yeah.
anytime. Hey, shoot us a message and be like, hey, I just want to do a walk around in the room. We
Okay.
would absolutely love
Oh
for
hell yeah!
our viewers and our fans, your fans, to see that, because I think that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that would be
That
fun.
would be
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
it's like I put it together, not well, of course, for myself because I'm living out this childhood fantasy that I had, but for other people to go, whoa, you got that, or oh my God, that thing moves. I love that element of surprise and excitement that certain things, especially the stuff that we're all involved with, just really gives you all this burst of dopamine. And I mean, it's just just the adrenaline. It's like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And then when it isn't, of course, we're the worst critics too about it just sucked and they could have done this, they could have. But movies can do that to people.
See, I like this is a 3D printed Jason.
Really?
Yeah. And the guy that his head comes off anyways, but I'll show it this way.
His mask comes off and his head comes off.
Yeah, his head.
How about
it all
that?
comes. Yeah. Let me do it this way.
Oh, he done broke it.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it. Wow.
It's really good. I wanted them to make a Freddy with or a Jason with a Freddy's head right in his hand, and the guy's looking into it for me.
That's great.
But he made this. I got a Freddy up there, and Ghostface.
So Mark, this Jason that you have, what film is he from? Which part?
3.
He's from 3. Okay.
Yeah.
When does Jason's? I was going to say, when does he start to change?
Part 6. I mean, he dies in part 4.
Yeah.
But part 6, he that's when he changes.
And real quick, why did you make those changes, Tommy? Did you look at part 4 and say this is what he needs to come back as? Or
yeah, part 4 is my favorite personally.
Okay.
I thought Joe Zito did a great job. And when you sit there and I was in a screening room at Paramount, and we started with 1, 2, 3, just right at one after the other. And when it got to 4, I went, there's some good filmmaking in here. I mean, it's certainly still gory in all the elements and things that you come to know, but I think the fact that they were thinking it was going to be the last one, we want to kind of go out on the best of everything that we can come up with, the acting, everything. But then when it did so well, and it's like, what are we going to do? We killed him. Didn't stop us making the lake that suddenly becomes the Elephant Man in the forest. That was, again, huge jump of logic, but it's like the way people think in the studio system. It's like, look, give them something that's going to be scarier than a little kid. But the same thing when I did part 6, I didn't skip part 5, but because I still said, we got out of the institution and all that stuff. But I really didn't want to follow that path that Tommy was going to be Jason, as a lot of people thought. And there was very little humor of the kind of humor that I think it needed. So I was just I was going, look, it's the 6th one, let's have fun with this thing. Let's make start with the James Bond thing, because that was the biggest franchise that we had going at that point. And I thought, make it be very obvious that, okay, here he comes, right, just like Bond, back for another one. So there's so many things like that really I thought the fans were going to hate. I really did. I was scared to death how this was going to be received. And it's only built over the years, oddly. But
it's one of the most loved Friday the 13th movies. I mean,
that's because it wasn't fake Jason. I mean, that's what they're always going to say. Part 5 was the first let me down of the series, I think, because they had fake Jason. They wanted to bring Tommy as something different, and then you get part 6, and it's no longer about that fake Jason.
Well, I got to tell you something. Quentin Tarantino to my face, said to me, I love your work. He named off everything that I've done. It's like he's got a mind like a Rolodex. I mean, it's just incredible. And he said, but I'll be honest with you, your movie was really great. You know, certainly early Scream kind of thing, but part 5, that's the best of the Friday the 13th because it's pure grindhouse, gritty, you know, nasty. I mean, that all the elements, because obviously the director, you know, came at it from a whole different perspective.
Well, I see what they were trying to get at, you know,
Mhm.
trying to do away from Jason and the Voorhees part of it, except, you know, they would dress up as them. I understand where they were going with it.
Well, and they also substituted, you know, a lot more sex, you know, a lot, you know, more stuff that really.
I'll be right back.
They'll give it an edge.
Right. I'm
going to have to jump too because I got a movie I got to see.
Yeah. Before you go, we have one final question. Tell me, what was it like to direct a Stephen King movie? Sometimes they come, or sometimes they come is one of my favorite.
Come back, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very mixed experience. There's a book that Joe Maudry did on me called Some Folks Have a Strange Idea of Entertainment, Conversations with Tom McLoughlin, available on Amazon. This isn't a plug so I can make money. Don't make a cent on it. But if you really want to see the path of how my life has been as a filmmaker and all the things that influence and stuff, it is a great record of that with a lot of photos, because I always believe that, you know, you want to see something, not necessarily have to read it. But in there, that's got the biggest chapter of all of them, because just before I did that movie, my father was dying. My Nancy was getting ready to give birth to my daughter. I had 40 episodes, you know, 20 for a thing that Mick Garris and I did called She-Wolf of London for Universal. And I was doing They Came from Outer Space, a comedy also for Universal that needed, you know, directors and writers and stuff. All that was happening. Then my best friend, Stephen Banks, had a live show that we were doing for Fox and Disney called Stephen Banks Home Entertainment Center. And I was trying to prep a show that I was going to shoot in Kansas. So all of this stuff was leading up to that, getting out of town and, you know, burying my father and holding my daughter. I mean, just there's so much emotion that was around it. So when we went in, and the show was cursed. I mean, every day something bad happened, you know, but we kept going, and, you know, got it done. And once it, you know, it was kind of put together, and Terry Palmieri, who did the score, brought this element of heart to it. It's now become probably one of my favorite movies as a representation of, well, there's all parts of me in that thing, and I wasn't even conscious of it. But Tim Matheson's character, my son always says, that's you, Dad. That's totally you. Your hair is cut the same as Tim. And again, it wasn't anything that either one of us were doing, but it sort of was like the thing that I escaped into, and was like a mirror in its own way of what was going on. And the cursed aspect, we were shooting on, you know, Indian burial ground, which somebody came up at the end of the show and said, you're not supposed to be here, you know. And I go, yeah, we realized that. That tunnel scene was, again, part of that whole kind of cursed train tracks that used to be there, and things that happened in that tunnel. And it was just a very unique experience. And I'm happy with the end result.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. I'm going to have to rewatch it.
All right, boys, I got to jump, you know. I got to
go watch the film tonight. Let us know how it was.
I will.
We need to know, do we need to go see it, or should we stay at home?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we need to know.
This message was from Sean Lucas. His family says hi.
Oh, hey, how are you guys? Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
All right, so Tommy, thank you so much. Before you leave, shout out your where you want people to watch you, follow you, what you want them to check out from you.
Well, I'm creating, you know, obviously a site for the new band, which you can hopefully see the
Slot Villa.
Yep. But going for much more of that monster sound, surprise, show band, lots of crazy stuff like I did with the Sloths. See how far I can push, bend the envelope. So there will be a site for Slothzilla, soon. But yeah, just, TommyMcLoughlin.com. You go to that and it'll take you to my Facebook, because I had not figured out yet what I really wanted to be on that site. So I went, well, seems like I'm putting everything in Instagram or Facebook. So just lead you over to that. And if you just go on YouTube and put my name in, you'll see the band, you'll see all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, Vengeance and Vengeance 2, you should check out if you haven't. I think that's it.
Fantastic.
Right.
Tommy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for allowing us to bend your ear and ask you a whole lot of questions.
Great.
We look forward to your next project for sure, because we're super stoked on, and not just Friday the 13th stuff, but I'd like to see what else you have in the works, because I know it's not just Friday the 13th, and I know that there's more stuff coming, so I'm ready.
I mean, the weird thing was when I was doing that book and I hadn't thought about how many movies I had made or even anything about them, really. I just kept going. There's like, 42 feature films that I've done that are everything from Santa Claus to angels to, mental illness to alcoholism to, all these real monsters, in life that I was able to kind of tackle, as well as obviously Freddie and Jason and Stephen King in the 80s. So it gives you a whole different kind of perspective on who are the bad guys, kind of like what Rob was saying. It's us if we let ourselves go down the wrong path.
Oh, I agree.
All right, guys, take care.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
See you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, there you go, Mark. You got Mr. Tommy McLoughlin. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Yes,
no
you
F.
did.
Yes. And you have fought like hell to get Tommy on the show, and man, he is super amazing, exactly like you explained. I know you interviewed him before on another podcast that you were a part of. If you want to go ahead and shout that podcast out.
Do I have to? Damn. The Jarvis podcast.
Cool. Was you and Steven, and you guys absolutely killed it there too. Hopefully I did them just. I listen, here's the thing. Horror movies, not my genre thing. I watch them because Mark watches them. So.
It's funny. It's not his thing, but we have them on here more than anything.
A lot. I think that crew is the most humble crew too. I mean, and I'm not talking bad about any of our guests whatsoever, but man, these guys give us a lot of time. I don't know if they have to put in the effort, but they definitely show up to the show. You know what I mean?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
You know what we forgot to do?
What have we got to do?
We forgot to say who the show was sponsored by this week.
That was you.
Yeah, I know.
That's your fault.
But that's who, if you're in Citrus County, that's who I would recommend to have come get, or to, shit. I can't speak today. God,
somebody, if you need your car or truck worked on.
Actually, he works on all motors. He can work on anything. Chris is great. He was working on my daughter's vehicle. He came over here this past Sunday. Less than an hour, he had the gas line off and redone, and it was back going. And I would never have thought to do it the way he did it. And it was just, he's great. I've known Chris for a long time. I don't really ask him to work on my vehicles because I try to do it, or at least I tried to. But then I got newer vehicles.
Mark sucks at it.
Yeah, blow me. And I got newer vehicles, so I have a garage do it. So they're all under warranty. But Chris was a great guy. If you're in Citrus County or around Citrus County, you need somebody, I'll put it up again. His name's Chris Smith.
352-422-1907 for those who live in the county. Even if you don't live in the county and you're local-ish, does he travel?
Well, he traveled to my house, so I mean,
he lives next door to you, asshole.
No, he lives about 2 miles down the road. But no, I've known, like I said, I've known Chris for quite a long time, and he's a great guy.
So we had a really good show tonight. We had the one and only Mr. Tommy McLoughlin. Friday the 13th, part 6 is where you guys will know him as writer and director for that film. But check out Vengeance Bloodline part 2.
Part 1 and 2.
Part 1 and 2. And you can catch him there. Look for his other feature films that he had out. He did.
Sometimes they come back. That's
he did mention a whole lot of them. Sometimes they come back is one that he did that was a Stephen King.
Yes, he talked about it. He talked about it when you went on here.
So, yeah, there you go. So, other than that, guys, again, thank you, Mr. Tommy McLoughlin. Other than that, we have next week's show.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We're not.
I'm sorry. Mark is gone next week, guys. So if anybody wants to come and co-host co-host my show, and we can do anything we want.
You don't even know how to do this.
I really don't. I know a guy though.
Yeah, no. Anyways, well, speaking of Glick, don't we?
Speaking of Glick and the nonsensical nonsense that he is up to,
he had asked us to be a part of a upcoming network, and we told him tonight we would have an answer for him.
All right, but listen, I don't like breaking hearts. Unfortunately, somebody broke my heart in a text. I'm gonna do it live on screen. So Glick, my answer, unfortunately, is that you have to put up with me in the nonsensical network if you intend on doing that. Because yes, sir, I will absolutely be a part of that. You have done such a good job with your shows, and he has a ton of fucking shows, correct?
Yes, he's got actually four shows. Caring for Men on Mondays.
Yes.
On Wednesdays, he's got Nonsensical Nonsense.
Yep.
Fridays, every other Friday, or twice a month.
He's doing Glick's House of Music.
And then Saturdays, he's got the Open Door Challenge.
And the Open Door Challenge, so if I become a part of the network, can I call it the Open Door Challenge? Because I'm tired of calling it the Dare. Is that okay? You okay with that? So guys, we are pushing forward into a new era. Talking shit will remain talking shit. We're not going to change the show. We're not going to change our format. In talking with Glick, we don't have to. We are just going to grow as a team. We're gonna do everything we can to continue to grow talking shit. And we're gonna do everything we can to help the nonsensical network grow as well. So
hold on, wait a minute, Steven, you're already part of it, you cocksucker. You're already part of the network.
So Mark put together.
Hold on. Or did I screw that up? Did I not tell Glick? Did you not ask him?
Well, Mark made this whole thing where he was like, I put together this thing. What do you think? You want to play that now?
We can. I mean, it's pointless.
I like the intro to this thing, so this is what I was going with. I was like, absolutely, I like the intro.
This is something I want to try to do with ours, but I'm still trying to work it all out. But we're gonna play this.
There you go. So, guys, stay tuned because there's a lot in the works. And if you're not already following Nonsensical Nonsense, you're fucking missing out, dude. Anywhere you can find your podcast, anywhere you find us, they're right there too. So check them out. Nonsensical Network, Nonsensical Nonsense Podcast.
Now we're not sure when this is all going to happen. I know it's going to be here.
It's going to take some time. I mean, this is something that we're building, and we're going to do it together, step by step. And we're in it to win it. We want to make the Nonsensical Network big. We want it bigger.
I mean, he wouldn't take my advice. You know, I tried telling him we should name it the Talking Nonsensical Nonsense.
That's way too. That's way too much.
I know, but it sounded better. Oh,
listen. We are now on NSN. So you used to follow me on CNN when I ran from the cops, but now, anyway, something else coming up. Super excited about, and they were talking about this. They were talking about this. Well, no. That's our show. But they were talking about this last night on Nonsensical Nonsense. There is going to be a roast of the founder and host, Christopher Glick. I can't wait. Glick, you want to post that up there? When's the roast? Give him a second. Somebody will throw it up there, either him or Steven. We're super excited too, Bo. That's why we wanted to talk the other day. You know, it's as long as you're up to listen, I got input, but I'm not going to be a hands-on guy. I'm just not going to do it.
Dude,
I think Mark is going to be the guy that's going to be. We
already had our minds made up before that meeting. We just wanted to hear what you had to say. Well, I won't be part of I'll be watching, but I will not be part of that roast.
Good. I'm glad you'll be watching because I have been writing my ass off, dude. I have been studying for this roast. Do you understand?
I'll be in Kansas. So, and it's my wife's birthday, so I wouldn't be able to make it anyways.
If the house falls on you, we will not be upset.
It won't be me underneath the house. It'll be me. Never mind. Jarvis will say something. Never mind.
May 2nd on Talking Shit, when you are back, I'm super excited about this one because we do get the first opportunity to really work with Nonsensical Nonsense when we have invited the host, Glick, to come on our show, our little podcast, and have his input on our musical guest, which is
Richie Ramone.
Get the fuck out of here.
The drummer.
Get the fuck out of here. Richie Ramone from the Ramones, bro. Let's say it, bro. Get excited. I'm stoked. How are you not stoked about this?
Just wait until we have him on. It'll be different.
Yeah, I'm going to have a heart attack in this bedroom.
I can't wait. And I meant to have Tommy say something, but I'll reach out to him and see if he'll make something for it.
I think he will because he knows the band life. So
he also worked with Richie.
See, things I didn't know, and we didn't bring it up in the show. It wasn't one of those things where I was ready to be like, oh, by the way.
Well, I wanted it focused on Tommy at the time. I mean, but most of the time, right before they go to leave, before even the show starts, a lot of times we ask them to see if that they're willing to do this. Yes, Richie Ramone will be on. He'll be part of the Talking
Mark,
Shit
if you
show.
don't take the air out of your fucking, if you don't stop pushing the air out of your fucking lungs.
Yeah, well, sometimes that happens.
All right. So what else we got? Anything else?
No, we're going to save the rest. I'm not sure what we're doing for the 7th, but I know what we're doing for our 2nd, 9th, 11th. The rest of May, I can tell you, but we'll save it for the 2nd.
Perfect. We'll see you guys back here
May 2nd.
Talking shit on May 2nd. However, Mark will not be a part of the Nonsensical Nonsense show on the 27th. So if you want to
Oh,
come,
I'll be watching.
if you want to come and see me, bitch, you better be in the comments too.
Yes, you know.
I'm telling you right now, I am writing my ass off. I plan on coming with guns loaded to this show.
I'm sorry for all the dad jokes he makes.
Whatever, I'm not. Listen, we love you guys over at Nonsensical Nonsense, and we can't wait to work hand in hand together. We're going to make something big. Hopefully, we're going to make something big happen together. Mark, you got anything else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
It would be like, I'm still saying you guys should have roasted Jarvis instead, but that's just me. But no,
all right, guys.
I think that's it.
From us here at Talking Shit, my name's Brian.
And I'm Mark.
Holy shit, you remembered.
Yeah, fuck
so
you.
proud of you.
And we're out of here.